Hey guys, I think we can start. I have the first item on the discussion. Just wanted to cover what we're using in Git right now and where we're using Omnibus. No surprises here. I just wanted to make sure everyone was clear on what we're using. Ahmad, do you still want to do a demo today for PG Bouncer?
Yeah, sure. It'll just take like 10 minutes to revision all things. So if you wanna go, if you want me to get started with, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so we're gonna provision a dedicated BG bouncer and Patroni plus BG bouncer on separate nodes. We're gonna do it through the CI. So just doing a dummy branch to trigger a pipeline. So if I do new branch day2, we can go directly to ops, see where's the pipeline. This looks correct. So we're gonna do it in Gamma Sandbox. And yeah, we're gonna do it on the registry chart. Everything has already been provisioned with Ansible. So what we're gonna do right now is just run Ansible on BG Bouncer and Postgres. Console has been already provisioned, so we can just run them in parallel. And we just wait. It takes around 9 minutes. Both of them to get provisioned.
Is there an ILB already for PG Bouncer created as part of the Terraform?
Sorry, is there what?
An ILB.
Not yet. No.
Okay.
We haven't provisioned this one.
So, but that's a requirement for the central PG Bouncer, right? So right now it's just creating one PG Bouncer, which we could use, but eventually we'll have like several PG Bouncers for writes.
Yeah, correct. We're gonna have
Yeah.
3, all of them behind an internal load balancer.
Okay. I guess we should have an issue open for that.
Sure.
If you don't already. Yeah, I'll open one.
So it takes some time, but that's because the bulk of the time goes to installing all the common tasks, all the tasks included by the command role from the get. Installing omnibus and configuring takes some time, but otherwise the rest of the steps are just provisioning files and so on. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's, I guess, because of the latest MR we just merged from the Postgres exporter queries.
So it's like complaining that GitLab Prometheus doesn't exist, but is it because the omnibus isn't installed yet?
Probably. Did we run configure yet? Create skip.
Yeah, this.
Yeah, I guess because it's it's running a handler, so the handler doesn't seem to have been run yet.
Okay, so we need to fix this. Maybe we could. I mean, you could hop on the box and maybe.
Yeah.
So you think like maybe running reconfigure?
Yeah, sure.
First, and then.
Let's see if I go to Postgres. One, we have a couple of them. Let's say GitLab CPM.
We should probably write a wrapper for quickly SSHing the machines. It's kind of a pain. I know Andrew has it in dead cuddle. I know you're going to say that, Andrew, but we're not using dead cuddle, so
it would be very easy to switch. It would be very easy to switch, Jeff.
I'm sure.
And then, yeah.
And all our demos would be as smooth as butter, I'm sure.
Yeah, and users report being 10% more handsome after they started using it.
Of course. Yeah, but yeah, it is kind of a pain to SSH to hosts. I wish Ansible had this. Like, Ansible has all the information. It'd be nice if there was like an Ansible SSH command.
So I see Paolo's just opened an issue for us to actually just skip SSH and just use the AWS commands. I think we were talking about it the other day as well. So I don't know how that's going to change things, but presumably that still needs a private key.
Okay, we're in reconfigure and we seem to have the Postgres running. I'm just gonna restart this one just to complete the rest of the tasks. And meanwhile, let's check on PG Browser
Is it reconfigure run in the common Ansible role, like when the package is installed or not?
I guess we explicit.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is, yeah, this is a Patroni node, right? So I'm a bit confused. I would think reconfigure would run when the package is installed, and that would create this this user.
It doesn't know. And the reason for that, the reason for that is each role is going in and actually set up the specific config file for each component, and then reconfigures.
So you drop the skip auto configure file, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Okay, that makes more sense. So it sounds like then we need to make sure that this directory happens after the reconfigure. I can fix that.
Yeah, I think that should work fine. Yeah.
Okay, so BG bouncer provisioning has completed. Still waiting for this one, but I guess we can demo a connection. Perhaps all the pieces are already there. So if I just go to the BG bouncer one. Quick check to see if I can look up the master. So if I say dig master.postgresql-ha.service.const, we have an IP, so that's good. So I can try and connect to the primaries through PG bouncer here. So if I say basicall -h-b the Postgres ports, there's GitLab. We have a couple of databases, so let's try GitLab HQ production cycle, just to be extra sure. And we are being prompted for a password, so that's a good sign. We can connect. I'll copy the password from Google Secrets Manager, copy and paste.
Ahmad, you're still sharing your browser screen, by the way, not the terminal. That's what you want us to see.
Interesting. I'm sharing the whole desktop. Can you see my terminal?
No.
No, not yet.
Okay, thanks for the heads up. Let's which one's this one? I guess. Can you see my terminal now?
Yes.
Okay, so just so I didn't fake anything, here we are in BG Bouncer 1. I'm gonna connect locally, so I want to connect through BG Bouncer. The port is correct, and we have a database that doesn't exist in Postgres itself. That's a database provided by BG Bouncer. So if I connect here and paste the password, we are connected. And if we are looking at the databases, we have the correct one. Let's just create table this one. Yeah. Interesting. Maybe Postgres is not provisioned correctly after all. So here is the Postgres, and it completed. This one is the primary because it's all sender. If I do the same thing, copy the commands. Let's try another port. We have 3 BG bouncers running. So let's do that's not correct. Am I incorrect? No, registry Postgres. Should have three PG bouncers. Where are they? Smart. So this node seems to be in inconsistent state. I guess something is wrong with the disks. It can't read anything.
Oh, yeah. I think I've seen this before. Maybe something to do with a disk mount or maybe you do like a, yeah.
We don't have it.
Yeah, there it is.
So, yeah, I guess we need to investigate what happened here. So, in the interest of not wasting everyone's time, I guess we can.
While you have this open, Ahmad, Grant had some questions earlier about why we have this GitLab production sidekick and GitLab production database configured at PG Bouncer. Do you recall the reasons behind that?
Yeah, so we can configure different pool sizes for each one.
Right.
I guess that's because we before we had the current setup in production, we only had like one cluster of PG bouncers. So all connections from Puma and Sidekick were connected to a single cluster. So we need to have different database names on a single for a single PG bouncer instance. Maybe it's not relevant anymore if we have a dedicated cluster for each type of connection, Puma and Sidekick. But that's like a relic from the past we carried on along the way.
Yeah, so this came first, and then after that it came where we had multiple PG bouncers per node. So what we could possibly do is just have different. We could have multiple, or we could have two clusters or multiple PG bouncers running on the same node, even listening on different ports, and then have two ILBs in front, one that we use for Rails and one that we use for Sidekick.
Something like the local PG bouncers or the dedicated PG bouncers?
Dedicated PG bouncers.
Yeah, for the dedicated PG bouncers, you're right. We can just have we can have like almost identical configuration. We don't need to change the database name. We just need to change maybe the pool sizes, but the database name can stay the same, given that we change the same thing in the application because they are configured to connect to this particular database.
Yeah, I wonder if we should switch to that model. Like instead of having two different databases with two different pool configurations, just have two running instances of PG Bouncer and two ILBs that are configured independently of each other.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. Cool. Great. Are there any questions before we end the call? Grant, for your benefit, in the beginning, I talked about like where we are with the Get stuff and what we're using. If you have any questions about that, let me know. So far, it looks like on the exporter front, I'm going to use the Omnibus Postgres exporter. I'm going to use the Omnibus Node exporter where we can. And then for the others, we'll have to create new roles, and maybe we'll look into seeing whether it makes sense to move those roles to Get or not. This is for like eBPF, MTIL, and others.
Yeah, it's actually a classic problem for me for some of explorers. They're small files, but actually to set them up and actually get them running in Linux and as a service and stuff, it's actually quite involved. It's more involved than you'd like it to be anyway, especially across multiple nodes. So that's why I was kind of pushing. It's like if Omnibus is already doing it, then that's fine. And that's why I'd still say again, if MTail has benefit, then I'd say the argument is clear that it could be added to Omnibus as well as an optional explorer to be added. to be configured just for
Yeah.
GitLab RB instead of doing stuff elsewhere, because then everyone can benefit.
Yeah, I can bring it up with distribution to see what they think.
And the other one as well. What is the one you said? The
There's three of them: MTail,
Okay.
eBPF, and process. Those three.
Okay, so process
Um,
needs to be attached to a process, so that's maybe not valid in Omnibus. Maybe it is. Maybe you can configure it with GitLab RB.
Yeah, I mean, I could potentially
could
see
work.
us, taking advantage of process exporter. I don't know. Like, I think if we're going to be starting to ship recording rules and SLO definitions with Omnibus, then like for some of these exporters, we rely on metrics from some of these exporters, so we should probably include them.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly, unless there's like an actual blocker reason, I don't see any negative to adding more exporters to Omnibus.
Yeah, it just increases the
then-
size of the Omnibus.
It does, but the explorers are usually kilobytes. They're not usually that big themselves. The
Yeah.
actual executables and stuff. I mean, if they
Yeah.
aren't, then that's
Well,
obviously
they
different.
mostly go binaries, which are all 10 megabytes plus. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that changes the conversation. Yeah, I'm more used
Yeah.
to this the like Node Explorer and stuff. But yeah, maybe they are still a little bit
Yeah.
bigger.
And the
but,
tens of megabytes. Yeah.
Well, what's a few 10 megabytes, I guess.
Yeah, in a
No,
900 megabyte package, it's like, not that much, I guess.
They probably all zip up pretty well.
Yeah.
It should do. It's something to worth. Well, I mean, genuinely though, if MTL does have a benefit to you, then surely it could have a benefit to others. So it might still pass the threshold of adding it to Omnibus.
I would question. So I think Process Explorer, definitely. MTEL, I would question whether we want to ship that with a product. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like we've kind of moved away from MTEL, thank goodness. Like for almost everything, and there are a few things that we use it for still, but it's very rare. And I don't know if it's worth all the effort of setting it up and maintaining it. As an omnibus thing, rather than I'm not talking about for your specific use case, but as an omnibus feature.
We do have MTail rules for Postgres. I should take a look to see whether.
Yeah, I would question whether any of those are needed anymore, because a lot of that stuff is in that queries.yaml file in the Postgres exporter now. And there was something else. Oh yeah, and the FluentD, we're doing some kind of interesting stuff as well, where we are scraping from FluentD, right, with the PG stat statements and PG stat activity and the vacuuming stats and all of that.
Cool. Well, if there's nothing else, guys, I'll end the meeting. Thanks, everyone.